Here I'm going to present about Team Amanda. This is our term project. Regarding the company details, together we are JLN Geometry, and our management structure is a democratic approach. First, I'll start off with the 2D model, which is our signatures. For the setup, first we signed our name on a white piece of paper. Then we took a picture of the paper, after which we selected points for the signature on the curve using Maya. And then we fit a NURBS curve to these points. And lastly, we fine-tuned the points on that curve to make sure that the signature, or the 2D representation of the signature, was smooth. Here's an example of Abhinaya's signature originally. Here's an example of Jessica's original signature. And here's my original signature. This is the 2D model of Abhinaya's. Here's the 2D model of Jessica's signature. And lastly, here is the 2D model of my signature. As you can see, we tried to make the curves very smooth, but some of the cusps and knots proved to be somewhat challenging. Also, for structures like the dot on the eye, we had to create separate NURBS curves. Here is an illustration of the control points for the 2D model.
Alright, let's discuss about 3D model. We have designed Air selfie camera. It is the only flying camera integrated into a mobile phone cover. So our main motivation is to design Air selfie camera is to solve the problems while taking group selfies or any selfies. We no need to strain while taking the picture. So Air Selfie is like we have inspired from Air Selfie portable flying camera. So this device is ultra light and contains HD cameras. So this device can fly up to 20-meter radius and can be controlled by both iOS and Android mobile devices. It can be rechargeable and controlled by mobile apps, and it can fit into any mobile cover. While the device hovers to capture the image, it can be controlled by a mobile app to take the picture. So as you can see here, this is the functionality of selfie camera. So it can just fit into the mobile cover and we can just drop it to hover into the air. So in the previous slide, we have seen the group selfie here. The problem while taking the picture, like they are struggling. So this can be solved by using our own air selfie camera to have very nice picture. So coming to the features, it has few features and it's simple to control and very safe in both indoor and outdoor locations. Mainly it has power bank, it can be recharged in 30 minutes, and it also have ultra HD camera, 12 megapixel camera to shoot media images. It has few sensors, motors to help hover autonomously. It has memory chip 4 gigabits of micro SD card to store the images. So the outside metallic body, as you can see here, which is lightweight to hover design details, will be illustrated by Jessica now. Thank you.
I shall now discuss about how we went about creating a 3D model for Air Selfie. The tool that we used to create this 3D model was Maya. So first of all, we had to create the body of the Air Selfie camera. So Maya is very nice in that it has a lot of pre-built basic shape that we could use to be able to create basic shape for certain parts of our Air Selfie camera. And then from those basic shape, we would modify the control point, the vertices, the subdivision surfaces, and the curves and stuff to be able to get to the exact shape that we want. So first of all, we created a polygon cube. So it's a polygon primitive cube actually. So Maya has like three different type of primitive. So polygon primitive, NURBS primitive, and then there's one other primitive as well. So the one that we used it was polygon primitive, and we created a cube shape from this. After we created a cube shape, we smoothed the edges by editing the control point and then the subdivision surfaces and then smoothing out the curve. After we have done this, we then stretch the cube to the appropriate side to make it into a thin rectangular prism. Now that we have done that, that will be the body of an air selfie camera. So to be able to put in the propeller for air selfie camera to make it fly, we have to create 4 holes in it at the 4 different corners. To go about doing this, we first created a polygon primitive cylinder. After we create the polygon primitive cylinder, we increased its subdivision axis from 20 to 50 points in order to make the cylinder curvature more smooth. Once we have made the curvature smooth, we then changed the size of the cylinder to get to the exact size that we want it to be. Once we have done this, we place the cylinder in one corner of the air selfie camera body. We moved it to make sure that it's exactly in the position that we want it to. So we want part of the cylinder to stick out one side of the air selfie camera body, and then part of the cylinder to stick out on the other side as well. When we have gotten it to its correct position and we are satisfied with it, we used a special method in Maya called duplicate special to be able to create the exact copy of this cylinder. So that's what we did. We duplicate special the cylinder, 3 of them, and then move those 3 to the other 3 corners of the rectangular body. So then to make the hole, we select the cube, and then we select all 4 of the cylinder and click on Mesh option, select Boolean, and select Difference. By doing this, we end up creating a difference between the 2 shapes. So it would take the base shape that we select, which is the first shape we select, which is the rectangular prism body, and then it would take that and basically do a difference with the second shapes that we select, which would be all the cylinders. So when it does the difference, it basically extracts out of the first shape whatever the second shape is. So since they are cylinder, it completely extracts out basically a big hole or circle in the rectangular prism body, which will end up creating the holes for our propeller. So now that we are done with creating the body for our air selfie camera, we went on to design the air selfie text to be able to put it onto our onto the body of our air selfie camera, so that we could actually be able to distinguish what the name of our product is. So to design the air selfie text, we did these following steps. First, we need to create a mesh type. So in Maya, there's this thing called mesh type, and when you create it, it's basically a mesh with like words in it, and you're able to change that text to whatever text you want. So we went and we create a mesh type, and then we changed the text to air selfie, and changed the font to Perpetua Tilting MT. So this font, after messing around a few different fonts, this font was the font that we felt was the most appealing looking for our air selfie camera. We then adjust the size and color of the font and align the text onto the surface of the air selfie body right in the center. Oh, and then we also assigned a material to this text and changed it to black to make it color black. We also did something similar to the body of the air selfie camera too. We assigned it a material to it, specifically a bling material, because there's actually different type of material that you could assign to different model inside Maya. And we decided to choose bling because bling was a shiny material that you could kind of make look shiny and reflective. So we want to use bling to make the body of the air selfie look like it's metallic. So we went and we assigned the bling material to the body, and then we changed the color and iridescent level to make it look like a metal body. For the text, we just assigned it the color black, and we assigned it material as Lambert to it to just make it a plain black font. So now we go on to design the blades for our propeller. So this is a little bit more tricky and it takes a little bit more work. But once we get one blade done, we're able to use the duplicate special function to duplicate 5 more blades to make 6 blades in total for our propeller. So what we had to do first was we need to create a thin rectangular polygon primitive. And then from there, once we create that thin rectangular polygon primitive, we went and moved the control point to make it look like a propeller. We then changed the propeller color to black and assigned the material as Lambert to it. Actually, let me repeat that. We actually assigned it material Lambert to it and then changed the color to black because you have to assign the material first before you're able to change the color of it. So then after we have done this, we also torqued the propeller a bit to make it look a little bit bented. Once this is done, we duplicate this single propeller by 5 to make 6 more blades. Once we have duplicated this blade, we created a polygon primitive pipe to create the center of the circle and to attach the propeller to it. So that's what we did. Once we create the pipe, we also assigned a Lambert material to it and changed the color to black. Now we create a polygon cylinder, a polygon primitive cylinder, and modify it and edit it to make it be the motor for the propeller. So we assign it material of bling too, because since it's a motor, it's also going to be metal. So we assign it a bling material to it and change it to a color and iridescent level similar to that of the Air Selfie camera body. Once we got that done, we created 3 different rectangular polygon primitive, modify them and edit them to make them look like sticks, and then attach them to the motor. We also assigned it the same material and color and iridescent level to these 3 sticks to make them also look like metal. We then placed the motor inside the black pipe that we have created. We then placed the motor inside the black pipe that we have created for the propeller, where all the blades are attached to. After we put in this motor, we created a polygon primitive cylinder, made it very thin, assigned a material of Lambert to it, changed the color to black, and then placed it over one end of the pipe to make the cover for the propeller. So since now that we're done creating one propeller, we made it really big to begin with so that it would be easier to change our control point and edit the curves and all of that. So now that we're done with this, we could select the whole thing and shrink it down to a smaller size so that it will actually fit into our Air Selfie camera body. So we shrunk it down. We place it inside the circle that we have created inside the body. We align it just right. And once we are satisfied with it, we end up duplicating it again using the special duplicate function, and then we duplicate it 3 times, and then we move all those 3 propellers to all the other 3 circles. So now we have a full complete Air Selfie camera body with propeller inside it with the text Air Selfie on top. Once we are done with that, we just need to add the camera now and the side grip. So the side grip was pretty simple to make. We created a rectangular NURBS primitive, and with that, we thin it down. We assigned it the material of Lambert to it, and we changed the color to black. We just created one to begin with. So, and then we also changed the height of it to make it small enough to fit on the size of the Air Selfie camera body. So once we've done that, we place it on the side, and we get to the position we want. Then we also used the duplicate special functionality to duplicate this to create the second side grip, and then we move it to the other side. So now we have 2 side grip on both sides. And the last thing we have to do now is create the camera. So we went about creating this camera by first creating a polygon primitive pipe. So the polygon primitive pipe is going to be the holder, the outside holder for the lens. We create the polygon primitive pipe, we made it thinner, we made it smaller, and we placed it right in the center in front of the air selfie camera. We assigned it material label to it. Oh, and the reason why we assigned the material label to it is because this material is the most non-reflective material. So we want it to look completely not shiny at all. So we assigned a material to it and then we changed the color to black. Afterward, we created a NURBS primitive cylinder and we modified size as well using control point and shrinking it down. And we got it to just the right size that would fit inside that pipe that we created earlier. So once we got down to the correct size, we positioned it right in the center to fit nicely inside that pipe. And then we assigned it the material foam to it. So we decided to use the material foam because foam is a very nice material in that it's kind of reflective. So we decided to choose that material because then it will make it look more like a realistic lens and look more like glass. So we assigned the material foam to it and we choose a very dark green color for the lens to make it look even more realistic like a lens. So once we've done that, we have finished our model. And this is the final product that we came out to, and these are some of the final images of our 3D model. And thank you so much for tuning in and listening about how we went about creating the 3D model for our air selfie camera.